Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Mustafa Mohamed Boche, and today we are going to learn how we can remove a node from the DOM. Okay, so first I'm going to walk you through the code that I have right now, a very simple code. We have this user information which we will remove from the DOM, and we will later target some of its children, for instance the first name and then the last name. So I have three buttons, okay, and this first button is actually going to remove this entire div, okay, with the class user information, which is right over here. And the second one is going to remove the first name, so it's actually going to target this particular div, this entire div, and then remove it. And then the last button is actually going to target the last name and then remove that from the DOM. So I have three particular functions that are written: remove user info, remove first name, and then remove last name, right? And that is what we have right here in the presentation. Okay, actually, as you can see, I've not coded anything for each of them, so we'll jump to the JavaScript section in a bit. But for now, let's open the console, okay? And then, for instance, let's console log. So I'm coming, let me reload this. So let's console log the document body, okay? So we have this. So if we go through the child node, okay, of the document body, which is right over here, the child nodes, we get to see all the children in there, okay? We are going to see all the children in there. So if we come over here, this is a child, that is a child, that is also a child, okay? This div is a child, okay? So let's go through and let's find it. And you can see right over here we have the user info right over there. So when we click on the user info, bear it in mind, it's also having children. So this one is a child, that is a child, that is also a child, okay? So if we come down here to the user info, the child node, we have the this div with a what, with a font 40, and we have the first name, and then we have the last name. As you can see, inside the user info we have a div with a class font 40, and we have the first name, and then we have the last name. So this basically tells us that if we want to remove something from the user info, we can actually remove the first name, the last name, and this particular div, okay? We can actually remove the break line too if we want to, but we are focusing on the divs, okay? So now let's go back to, for instance, our JavaScript, okay? And then let's code something. So first things first, I'm actually going to define a variable called user info, which is going to hold this particular div, okay? Because the subsequent queries that we are going to write is to delete this and also delete that, and I don't want to be writing the same code repeatedly. So we're going to come over here, we're going to define a const for user info, and that is going to go to document.query selector. We're just going to select that, the user info. And bear it in mind, in this current JavaScript, you don't necessarily need to be terminating your code for it to work. JavaScript is moving, more like Python now. So even if you don't terminate your code, that works. I just want to throw that out there. I know there are some people that are very, very used to the semicolon at each and every line, but you can ignore it. So, and everything is going to work. So now this particular variable that we have for user information is actually holding the entire of this, okay? And if you want to check that, we can simply go back, reload this, and then for instance type user info, okay? and then as soon as we press enter, we are grabbing that particular information. Okay, it's highlighted over there, and then when we click on it, we get to see its child notes. Okay, so let's go through the child notes. We have the first name, the last name, and then they deal with the class, font 40, and then the bold text. Okay, so it's grabbing the entire of this. So now what we're actually going to do is to remove a node. Since this particular user information is a child of the body, this is the body wrapping the whole thing, is a child of the body. To remove this particular div, we are supposed to query the document, and then we'll get the body, and because it's a child, we'll do dot remove child, and then we'll remove this particular child from there. Okay, so when we come over here, all that we need to do is write document.body.removeChild, and it will pass the user information right over there like that. So if we save this and then we go back and then we reload, as soon as we click on this, it removes it from the DOM. So you realize that if we go back and we check our body, we realize that we don't see that child over there again. We can actually see the button, these are the buttons. We can actually see them there, but we don't see, how do you call it, the user info there. Let me reload. Okay, realize that we have the user info right over here. Now if I scroll down and I click on this, look, this thing is going to vanish in a sec if I click on this. So realize that that particular div has been removed from the DOM. Okay, so let me close this. So the next thing we're actually going to do is also remove the first name and then the last name. So to remove the first name is actually a child of the user info. Okay, this first name, this div with the class first name, is a child of the user info. So since we've already defined the user info, all that we have to do is when we come over here, we'll say user info, and then want to remove, for instance, so user info, and I want to remove child, which is the document dot query selector, and then we just want to get the first name. Okay, so right over here, it's actually going to start from this particular section. Okay, we are saying the user info, so we are grabbing this and we are saying, okay, fair enough, we want to remove a child, but what child is it? The child has the first name, so query, and then if you return any child with the class first name, remove it. So basically that is what we are doing right over here. Okay, and let's write the same code for the last name because it's a similar thing. So user info dot remove child last name, sorry. Okay, so when I save this and then we go back and we reload this, realize that when I click on this, let's go back and check. Okay, sorry, let's go back and check. This is our user info, right? So there we have the first name and then we have the last name. So if I click on remove first name, you realize that this div is going to go in a second. This is going to go in a second. So when I click on this, realize that it's gone. Now this is also for the last name, so when I click on that, that is also gone. And then when I click on remove user info, this is also gone. Okay, so this is the code that you need to write if you want to remove an element from the DOM. Thank you very much. I hope this tutorial is useful to you, and I'll see you in my next one. Thank you and bye bye.